love this topic, innovative problem solving, and I titled this talk, "To solve a problem, first create it." So be the problem, basically. Right now we're living in a world that is incredibly complex, but also incredibly simple. Our problems are multi-dimensional, interconnected, and oftentimes super overwhelming, but the solutions are actually quite straightforward. The best problem solvers are not the ones who learn about problems through reading or through research. We're the ones who have gone through the experiences, who have felt the pain, and emerged stronger on the other side. I've spent 8 years in the wellness industry, and this field is often seen as a really inclusive and healing and beautiful space, but in reality, it's not accessible, it's not equitable, and it's hardly effective. So I've made it my personal mission to create therapeutic and inclusive spaces where everybody can feel welcome, seen, and heard, and valued. So I started my first company because I saw a major gap in the local wellness industry. Black bodies were often overlooked and underserved, and I realized that this was something that needed to be addressed. And one of the most powerful moments in my career was when a client of mine came up to me and basically shared their experience with me. They said that the appointment that they had with me was their very first massage in their life, and that they've hesitated seeking out health practitioners in the past because they never really felt like their body was valued or respected on the table. They never really felt comfortable or safe in traditional wellness settings. So it didn't take me long to wonder what that felt like, because I knew on a personal level there were a lot of folks who have shared that experience with me as well. And what this meant was that entire communities were missing out from the benefits of holistic health options. So I was like, no, this cannot continue to happen. It really reinforced my commitment to create a more inclusive wellness industry here locally. So that's when I created created my wellness company first. By living that problem of experiencing what it's like to be underrepresented, to have a lack of access to equitable health options, I came up with some solutions. So I created my first wellness company that really was created to prioritize representation, celebrate culture, and advocate for health equity. We've also developed programs and workshops to educate and empower other leaders in the industry who want to also elevate their inclusive initiatives. And overall, what I've learned is that a lack of representation in anything, but particularly in health, leads to a lack of trust and a lack of understanding, and then ultimately a lack of health. And so this is what has led me to strive to create the spaces that we needed ourselves. So 3 things that I feel we should do in order to be an innovative problem solver is first to live the problem. So experience it on a personal level, let it consume you, really dive deep into the problem that you're trying to solve. That way you can understand the nuances and really kind of find a solution that resonates. Second thing is to create the problem. Don't be afraid to be a disruptor, to be a visionary, to be the innovator, because when you're coming to the space with a problem, you often have the solution in your back pocket, and then you become the indispensable expert. So I didn't create, obviously, discrimination in healthcare. It's been there forever, but I knew that there was a gap here locally, and what I did was ended up bringing awareness to it. So I'd go into wellness spaces, I would see the gap, I would call it out, bring awareness to the leadership or to the people in the company. And oftentimes they would be willing and wanting to do better, they just don't know how. So they're looking for someone, and I'm right there, so I'm the expert. And it kind of creates opportunities that way. And then so the last thing is to act. Ideas are wonderful, but execution is priceless. So don't be afraid to act on your ideas. Fail often, fail fast, and learn faster. So I just encourage you to reflect on your own experiences and see if there's any problems in your own lives that you are passionate about wanting to solve. Live that problem, go through that experience, create solutions, act on it. And it's not about creating new problems or new solutions. You can take existing ones and make them better, make them more accessible. And we can all embrace problems as opportunities to tackle them, to do better, and not look outward for the solution. All of the tools and resources that you need are inside of yourself. What problem y'all gonna solve today? So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Questions?
Any questions?
Yes. Sure, Steady.
Thank you for your presentation. You mentioned in regards to identifying problems and the gaps. So my question to you then, what has been the response from the community with the initiative, especially around bodies and how, when it comes to trust, especially within the Black communities, what has been the response from the Black communities?
What has been their response to the initiatives that we're doing?
Yeah, and what in regards to also engagement, like I see you have some images of people going through that experience, the solutions. So what have been the overall response from the communities with your initiative, and how they have responded, not necessarily in a sense of participating, but in regards to conversation?
I would say most of the response has been positive. People are responsive. Folks have been looking for these types of spaces, particularly in Nova Scotia, where we have this long history of racism and systemic racism. So a lot of times it is positive, but it's kind of twofold, because people are so tired of having the conversation and tired of not seeing any action. So on our end, as practitioners, as kind of racialized people in the space that are doing the work, it is really positive. People are happy to see that, but it takes, I think, a collaborative effort. It takes a little intentionality from folks outside of our community to engage in the conversation, and it is uncomfortable, but I think if there's like a willingness, it makes it a little less painful.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Yes.
How did you begin to create community? Because you said there was one person who saw it.
Sorry, I can't hear you that well.
I'm just curious of how you began to create that community, because there was one person who identified that it was a problem, and then you said, okay, well, this is clearly a problem, so how do I find other people who are having the same issue?
How to kind of create this community? Honestly, being the person in the space, like just taking up space, people do come to you. People, because you're not the only person that's feeling it or that is experiencing it. So I just found just by taking up space and being the person that's calling things out, sharing my experience, like people just automatically kind of gravitate. There wasn't, I do kind of post on social media and do that stuff, but it's just starting out. Just being a Black RMT, that's how I started as a registered massage therapist. I had an influx of Black clients coming in, being like, I've never had a massage before. I've never felt safe. Like I never felt like my body was trusted. So I didn't have to do much. I'll be honest. Yeah, if you're kind of in line and you're doing something that, again, you've experienced, you've lived, you just kind of have to take up that space. Yeah, you're welcome. Yes.
What inspired you to become a registered massage therapist? Like, how did you make the first leap?
Accident. I was actually going to be a social worker. That's what I wanted to do. The program I wanted to get into didn't allow me, like I wasn't accepted. So my friend just finished the massage therapy program. And I was kind of on this healing kind of path, you know, in the gym and stuff, but, so I was like, let me just take this, you know, it'd be really easy. It was not easy. It was like 2 years of health sciences, which I hate science. But I ended up loving it, and so I was like, this is really therapeutic. There's a lot of layers to it, and now, you know, afterwards, I found out how lucrative it can be. So I became, you know, an entrepreneur, and then it grew up into something much bigger than, you know, a business. It was like a purpose and like a bigger thing. So, yeah, I didn't mean to be a massage therapist. It just happened, and I love it. I recommend it if you want to do it. Yeah, Sasha.
Hi, Fanny.
Hi.
My question is more around how you balance kind of your practice and then the other work that you do through like the Department of Culture and Tourism. And then also just, you know, from my experience in organizing events, I find that because I'm so like consumed by like planning events for other people to create, I sometimes don't have time to be creative myself.
Mm-hmm.
So for you, where your business is like focused on wellness, how do you make sure that you're also setting aside that time to make sure you're getting your wellness in?
I'm like a hypocrite, honestly.
That's what it feels like.
No, so I have a day job as well. So I work for the Department of Communities, Culture, Tourism, and Heritage. Have this wellness company, have a nonprofit, have a podcast, and I have 3 kids. So I don't know. But I will say time management, like my schedule, like you cannot even wiggle your way. Like my calendar has everything that I need, and I align my calendar with my values. So what's important to me, like is being creative. I'm gonna set this night 2 hours to be creative, or you know, am I gonna work on my nonprofit this day? This is how many hours I'm spending. My kids, like Tuesday, Thursday evenings, nobody call me. Every second weekend, nobody call me. Like, you know, this is kind of what I do. So I'm a beast about my schedule. That's the only way. If you don't schedule what's important to you into your schedule, other people are gonna end up filling it up for you.